This is Boxing Tickets NI. We are delighted to be joined all the way in sunny Spain with Jonathan Thunderbolt O'Brien. Jonathan, how are you?
Pleased to meet you. How are you, my friend? You okay?
I am fantastic. I think I met you actually last year. Three Arena card. Oh, sorry, Three Arena National Stadium card. I think Edward and Paddy obviously were supposed to be fighting on the Three Arena card. I think was it April of last year. I think they
Yeah,
were both.
April of last year, Edward was fighting and Paddy they fought in the National Stadium on the Paddy Walsh, the Paddy Walsh show, wasn't it?
Yeah, Barry Wilson show. Um,
Paddy Walsh, sorry.
Obviously, it's a good October for you. Obviously, in the sunshine in Spain. Obviously, here in Belfast, we're sort of battering the
Yeah,
storm and
we've
everything
got
else. But
the sun still out. Yeah,
I guess
I'll
we're
rub it in
obviously
a bit.
we're just over a month, obviously, past from obviously two of your boxers, obviously fighting in the Three Arena. You obviously, if you've aired your sort of views on things, I guess in some ways you have to vent your frustrations, don't you, John, and let
You
people know.
listen. You got to speak the truth. Let's be honest. We're all boxing people, and these judges that judged on the night. I don't know if they're boxing people. To be fair, I don't think they were. Like the whole world, the whole commentary, all the people on TV, they all had Pierre up 6, 7 rounds. He drops the guy, gives him a standing count, and still he didn't get the decision. But one referee, Emil Teed, fair play to Emil Teed, doing his job correctly. He scored a 92-97 to Pierre Dibombe. Which was fair. You know, and Dana White and all, and Steve Collins, world champion Steve Collins, was sitting there, and they looked at me and just said, "What's that going on there?" And the fight before, as with Corona and Brennan, that was a bad decision, and I feel for the fighters because I know what a boxer goes through because I'm an ex-professional fighter and I'm a trainer, I'm a manager, and I live and dream of boxing since a young age. I know this game inside and out, and I know the sacrifices that Pierre Dibombe puts into this game. His 10-week training camp. The money that he has to pay to come to Lanzarote and train for training camps with me. Same as with Edward Donovan, and same that now I have Jason Harty as well. They have to come and train with me in Lanzarote, and they have to pay, for training camps, and it's not cheap, you know. And then to get a bad decision like that, it doesn't justify anything for boxing. Like there's Dana White himself, and I didn't have to say it. He's thinking about bringing international judges. That's bad for the boxing federation.
Mm.
That's bad. Why not stand up? I just said stand up and account what was wrong and what went wrong there, and flip it. That's all. I only just asked for a bit of fairness, and then they weren't happy that I went on social media. But all I was doing was talking to my supporters and the fans that paid good hard money to go and support Pierre. Because I'm from Ireland, so I sold a lot of tickets for Pierre. I nearly sold 50 tickets for my fighter. And people know him well liked at home, and they know that I love boxing, and they all come to see it because they've heard so much about him. And he's in a bad place. He's not happy today still. It's still hard for him to take because he could have been ranked top 10 in the world. Ranked 10 in the world, right? He's at the missing out on a 4-fight contract because he didn't get that win. That's what was really behind that. That's what frustrated me so much because there's only certain opportunities you get in this game. And you know that, you don't get loads of opportunities. The gates don't keep opening. But when the gate opens, you got to walk through the gate. And you got to, Pierre, as we know, I said you should have stopped that guy. You could have stopped him. And he just said that I was enjoying it and I knew I was winning. And that's why I didn't. He could have went up another gear or two and stopped that guy. And he's gonna learn from this now. We learned in a hard way, if that makes sense. And it was the win was took away from us, which was disgraceful. That's all I got to say.
It's John. It's obviously that's twice. Obviously with Sean McComb, obviously earlier this year in America as well. Like
I was there. I was
he
there.
schooled he schooled his opponent there, and you're sort of going, it gets to this stage now. A fighter can only take so much risk in a fight, but if you know that, I know over the days of the judging and things like that, and Mayweather fights and stuff like that, and Canelo fights, like you have to stop them to get a draw, sort of thing. But like a fighter can only take so much risk. Like obviously,
Of course.
there's that
And that was
percentage.
another opportunity for Pierre, because he was fighting on that bill as well with Sean McComb. And I was over there with the team and with Pete Taylor as trainer and all that, and it was disgraceful. Pierre fought against Berbevec, very, very good fighter, golden boy guy, and he got his eye cut open in the first round, and he showed heart, grit, determination, didn't stop, kept going, and that guy panicked, and then he got a cut in the eye, and then he looked for the way out. He told his cornerman, "Oh, I feel weak, I'm losing blood," and he got himself pulled out, and that was even a bad night of judging. But you're going to have to stop these guys when you go to these cards. But as I say, there was another 3 rounds left, and they called the fight off. And we asked for a rematch. I spoke with Golden Boy, Eric Gomez. We were WhatsApping back and forward. He says, we will give it another opportunity. We will not. They won't go for the rematch, because we asked for the rematch, and they don't want to give the rematch. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So that didn't it just kept going back and forward. I'll get back to you. They have you out in September, and nothing came out of it. And then I got the Dana White opportunity in the 3 Arena, which was great. And we got a guy, then this guy, Ali, really, really good fighter, a great amateur. And we took the fight, and I thought Pierre bossed him in every round. The guy didn't know what to do with Pierre. We had everything controlled. I seen the way he fought. I studied it, and that's my job as a coach. Study them, do what we have to do, and we go out with a plan. And we done it. We done everything to the plan, and we didn't get the nod, which we should have. But that's boxing again, isn't it?
Yeah, as you say there, it's like you only get so many opportunities. Like obviously, I know particularly with Sean McComb, like the fight was in April, and been trying to get fights ever since. And because you were so good, like so good
Exactly.
in the fight,
Nobody wants to fight you.
You've robbed, and then now he's dropped out of the WBO rankings. You're sort of going like you beat the number 1 in the division. Now you're not even ranked in the top 15.
No,
It's like you're
disgraceful.
penalized for actually doing.
It's a disgraceful, mate. I feel for Sean McComb big time. He didn't deserve that. I watched that fight. He skilled him bad, but again, it's boxing. This is boxing. This is the other side. There's good sides of boxing, and there's really, really ugly sides of boxing, and that's the way boxing is. There's ups and downs, and there's roundabouts. And I always say to army fighters, you work as hard as you work. You give your life to this game. You miss parties, you miss funerals, you miss 21sts, you miss family occasions. You miss your own family occasions because you're in training, you're getting yourself ready for the fight. You sacrifice so much for this sport, and then it doesn't give you that back. It doesn't give you, like, my son now is 6 years of age. I don't even want him boxing. And he's like, "I want to be like you, Dad." I said, "No, you don't want to be like me, son. I want you to play football." Do you know?
Mm.
Because I don't want to see my son going through this sport, because it's for mugs. And I'm not saying that in a being disrespectful way or anything, because that's all I know. And I must be a mug because I fucking love it. But, it's not fair. That's all I can say. I mean, it's not fair for what he put in. Don't get it back.
What do you think needs to change? Obviously, within boxing, obviously you've been on the wrong end, obviously, of decisions there, and you've seen so many in the past. Like, what needs to change within boxing? Like it seemed to be, John, as
Well,
you well.
I tell you the truth. What I think should change, right? And I'm not being disrespectful to anybody. I say what I say, and I always stand by what I say. It's like the judges, like, you want to be getting the ex-professional fighters, right? If I'm like pro boxers, right, they put their heart and soul into boxing, right? And then they put a load of weight on, they get depressed, right? There's nothing for them after boxing. So why not, get them judging, get them being referees, because they know what it's about. They've been there. They know the game. You're giving these people that never boxed in their life judging, and they're refereeing. It's like these coaches as well today. There's a load of them personal trainers. They don't even know boxing. They never get in a ring. How do they know what it's like to go to deep waters in the 10th round if they never been to deep waters themselves? How do they know what it's like to make weight when you're getting ready for the fight? Did they ever do it? Do you know? That's what you have to put together. And it's not me putting that at anybody, but it's logic. It's boxing. Do you know? if you've not been there and you didn't put yourself through it, then how do you know what it's like? And that's why I know I study boxing and I'm being at it since I'm 8 years of age, and that's all I know. You know what I mean? And I'm always going to have my boxers back, and I'm always going to speak for them. I'm probably going to get myself into a lot of trouble for things that I say, but all I'm doing is talking the truth. What did he want you to do? Say nothing?
Exactly. Like at the end of the day, I think like my own personal views, I'd say that obviously the people need to be accountable. If judges are scoring things, and the funny thing is as well is obviously in the Dibombe fight and obviously in Sean McComb's fight, where the judges that have scored it correctly, they're actually going to be penalised for it because they haven't followed the rule of thumb where they've been majority scored against somewhere else, and they're going, "You're making us look bad because you scored the fight properly."
Yeah. And that's all I asked for. I only asked for fairness. I only asked can you review the scores? Can you watch the fight yourself and make your own decision and say, okay, I've studied that. And well, I said, well, Emil Tate had 92, 97. And the other two guys was 94, 95, and then 95, 97 or whatever, right? Why not go to Emil Tate and say, you're way off. You've scored it way off. He didn't score it way off because he scored it correctly. Do you know, it was the other two judges that didn't score it correctly. Do you know what I mean? But
Emil Tate had it 95. Sorry, let me see. Callum Byrne actually, and obviously, I hope I'm not sort of singling somebody out, but obviously Callum Byrne had scored the fight 97, 92. He was the only one that actually scored it right in the night. From what I can see here, Colin Byrne actually scored it 97, 92. The obviously Pierre, and then Emil Tate actually scored it 95, 94. The Alamedov, and David Irvine.
There's me saying that wrong, so there you go. So there's me even saying that wrong, and that's what he told me. Would you believe it? In an email from Mel Crystal, he told me Emil Tate scored at that, which was wrong. Then so. Do you know what I mean? And I'm putting that out there. That's crazy.
Unless they,
Emil Tate knows boxing because his father was a great boxing man. He was a fighting man. Freddie Tate. Do you know? My granddad trained him. My granddad trained the Ingles. Brennan Ingle, John Ingle, Brennan Ingle, Bernie Ingle. My granddad was a heavyweight boxer down in Ringsend. He was an army man, an Irish champion in the army. And he trained all the Ingles and Tate because we're meant to be second, third cousins or something like that. But it just goes to show you, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I'm still, I try to say I'm not hurt still over it, but you know what? It's still there when I speak about it. You know what I mean?
It's that passion, isn't it, John? Like, at the end of the day, you're passionate about the sport, you're passionate about your fighters. And if you give over a bit easily, it's not shown as if you actually care about your fighters if you just forget about it.
Yeah, because look, if I don't open my mouth, who's going to open their mouth? And if other guys don't open their mouth, you know what I mean, and be scared of what? I pay for me boxing license. I pay for me manager's license. So I deserve to open my mouth and I deserve to talk the truth and stand up to what I believe is right and wrong. That's it. I have a mouth to open and I'll open it. And that's the way I'm always going to be. I'm not going to change for nobody. Do you know what I mean? And I will stand for my fighters. That's it. Even like Edward Donovan's fight with Greg. Like, if anything, that was a draw. And, Greg done what he had to do, but he was dirty. He hit him with the head twice. He cut his eye open and he was punching in the back of the head non-stop. And I'm shouting at the referee. 3 times he's done that now and you haven't said not one thing to him. Do you know, where's the warnings? No warnings. No, nothing. It's just, I just don't get it. I don't get it. Do you know what I mean?
It's like a new sport, doesn't it? Sometimes you're sort of going, what's going on here? It's like
sometimes it is, and I just think in Ireland boxing, in Irish boxing as well, but there's not enough events for them to be doing big cards like that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like in England, you've got events non-stop. But in Ireland, you don't. And that's the problem, I think, with the judging. And that's why if it was more consistent of shows, like much, much more than what we already have at the minute, and you were doing it regularly for a few years, then the judging could get a bit better. Do you know what I mean? And that's the only thing that I can put my eye on, if that makes sense to you.
Is it, obviously where Dana's obviously had his views and stuff as well, and I know potentially it looks like Cronin and Brennan are going to rematch in Madison Square Garden in March. Is there anything talk with Tom Loeffler and the fact of getting the rematch for Pierre?
Well, I spoke with Tom Loeffler and I spoke with Dana White. Dana White guaranteed that he will speak with Tom Loeffler and Pierre deserves the rematch. And then they told me that Ali won't give him the rematch. I have it in my phone. And I said, look, can you get him on I text Tom Loeffler, I said, can you give Pierre another opportunity, to fight Ali? We'd love to fight him over in New York. And I'd love a rematch for Edward Donovan against Greg O'Brien for the Irish title out there in St. Patrick's Day. And he said, leave it with him. That's it. So I have to wait till he comes back to me now, and you have to put it out there. You have to get on to the next people for the next event. But look, I'm at the organising fair play with Jay Bourne. I'm at the getting Jason back out again. As you know, his last two fights, he's getting 2 wins. I've organised all that for him. I knew he could beat this American guy. He was undefeated. I knew Jason has better amateur skills. His amateur level, what he won in the amateurs, like 12 All-Ireland titles. The kid's very good. Just has been out boxing, few things with the family and injuries and stuff like that. But I can see his ability, what he has, and he is really good. And you're going to see the best of him once he's kept busy. Same as with Edward, they're not getting kept busy. It's hard to get them busy, It's hard to get them on shows with things that can happen that's not in their control, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm at the organising there now with Jay. I got him out the 29th of November for the Celtic title for Jason Harty.
Yeah, against Peter Carr.
Great cracking fight there with Peter Carr because he's tough as nails, and that'll give a great fight for the Irish public. That's going to be amazing. 50-50 fight. This is what you want to watch. I tried to get Edwards out and I can't get him because the bill is full. I respect that. And then he says that he will have them out in February and in April in the stadium show. There's a show in Belfast in February, and he's promised that he could put the two boys on the both shows, and he'll have the two of them fighting for Irish titles if I don't get that one out in America for April. He's going to try put something together there. And, Jay's a good guy. Him and his team, brilliant people, and Butch, great people. And, they're trying to give a lot back to Ireland, Irish boxing. And, people, listen, everybody talks smack. Come on. This is boxing. As I say to everybody, in this game is lots of snakes and rats. That's what I say is in this game. I believe what I say is what I say, and my word is my bond. I'm a very passionate man about boxing, and everybody knows that about me. But if I give you my word and say this is what we're doing and this is how we're going to go forward, I've done that with Jason, and we have earned each other's respect, and Big Butch, and they respect what way I do things. And going forward now, we're going to be doing a bit of work together, and I'm happy with that. And I think J-Bone Promotions is amazing for Ireland now, and it's great for fighters coming through that don't want to stay in the amateurs and want to turn over. But as I say, you got to sell tickets because he has to pay bills. He has to cover events. These things don't come for free. So
I was actually very impressed with Jason's performance in the National Stadium. Like, I guess the opponent sort of came in and, people were saying obviously golden gloves, blah, 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 as an amateur. And obviously with Jason obviously having that 2.5 years pretty much out of the ring, like, I know he'd said to me obviously 2 weeks previously in the JB Promotion show, the more I get fighting, the more it's going to come through. And like,
exactly, and that's why I picked that guy for him. That 4 hard rounds. I didn't want him getting a knockout, but I could have paid. I got a knockout for him. A bus man. Nah, I don't believe in that. Learn, get in against a good guy that's going to give you the valuable rounds, and that's what Jason needed, and I done it. And everything I said to Jason has come true, and he says, "Do you know what? And he's very thankful. And it's nice to hear thank you well boxers because you do so much for them. They take over your whole life because it's a game that you're non-stop you're mentally trying to keep them correctly. Physically you're trying to keep them correctly. Boxing's more mentally than it is physical, than you know it. And, my job is to keep them right and get into their mind and make sure they're correct and keep them ticking over. And we have to, you need a plan. And that's why now getting this plan now with Jason and signing a deal where we have a couple of fights for them and keeping them going, it just keeps the momentum going for the lads. And that's what I say. This is what you need, and this is what's great for Irish boxing with Jay Bourne. I think, and anyway,
You
I think it's
probably nearly
amazing.
wish it was like, it was as active as it was when obviously you were boxing. Obviously you wanted to be as busy now where you
One
could.
fight a year I was getting. It was a joke. Now I could sell tickets, as I said to Jay Bourne. I had about 200, 250 tickets sold. I always had a great following, even when I fought in the stadium and all. I had a great following, and he's telling me some boxers can't even sell 30 tickets. It's bad.
Crazy.
I'd pack boxing in if I couldn't sell tickets. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's
Oh, come and join you, man. You know what I mean? Like,
it's
that's
like,
what you're gonna have to do.
I've never boxed myself or anything like that, but like I've spoke to Dennis Hogan obviously in the past, obviously most of his career in Australia. He was going
Yeah,
back to the old school way, as if he didn't have phones and internet, knocking people's doors, telling them who
yeah,
he was. He was Irish. Obviously, the Australians love the Irish, and he was going around and was nearly like a car salesman. Nearly, he was walking about, telling people who he was, getting them to
yeah,
like him, and then they were
yeah.
buying tickets off him. Like people don't do that here. They just think putting a post on Instagram or
Nah.
Facebook, going, if you need tickets, give me a shout. And you're going, who are you? It's
Listen, it's like I said to Tom Loeffler as well. Like, we were out in New York. I got the lad signed out with a great promoter, Sal Madadini, over in he's in New York. Um, I lived in the Bronx for nearly 2 years. I boxed out of Gleason's gym, so I had a lot of people that I used to know still living there. I went down visiting with the lads, and the lads had a bit of support when they fought over in New Jersey. Pierre fought there, Edward Donovan fought there, Jason fought there, but it was a problem going through the airport. And so, like, you know, to get them to fight out in New York, if we can get them out in the March show with Tom Loeffler and 360 Promotions, would be amazing, because they have following there, so they can bang out tickets out there too. And the Irish out in New York is unreal, Queens and all. And I lived in Woodlawn, Yonkers. It's a beautiful town. I used to walk on doors down there when I was fighting now with Gleason's gym. But good memories as well, I have to say.
yeah,
That's the good thing about boxing. You get to travel, get to see different parts of the world.
it's memories that sort of, as they always say, memories that last a lifetime and money can't buy. It's like a new thing in years to come, and you're sort of going, Craigie, what have I been doing? This, and you remember boxing things, even though boxing annoys you probably more than you like it and
Yeah,
things like that,
yeah.
just sort of going, gives you great memories though.
And
Yeah.
it does. It gives you amazing memories, and you meet some amazing people. And that's the other good thing about boxing. But there's ups in boxing, and then there's downs, like I say. Do you know what I mean? So, but there's more downs than there is ups. That's the only shame. Do you know what I mean? That's the only shame, I do say. And you need a good promoter. You need a good promotion team behind you. If you have a good promotion team behind you, you know they open the doors for you. They build you in the right way, and you're built correctly. You have a great team around you. You have a good coach, a good manager. Because at the end of the day, a promoter needs to speak to your manager. Then your manager needs to speak to your trainer. And then everybody works together as a team. And we all, right, this is the way we're going to go. We get this fight, right, we get him a 6-rounder, and then we build them, right. Now we're going to step them up to an 8-rounder, and you step them up correctly. And then we go for titles, and then you stay. And that's what, you have to set out a plan. And I've set this plan out with young Jason and with young Edward, and didn't happen for Edward with the Celtic title. There's nothing he could do. We had a night cut. But he's going to learn from that. He's going to learn a lot from that. Will Greg O'Brien fight him again? I don't think so. I don't see Greg giving him a rematch. But look, that's that's up to Greg. If he wants to move on and get a bigger fight and a bigger payday, respect to Greg. But Edward just needs now to get back for the title again. He needs to get out, just get another 4 or 6-rounder, because he lost the Celtic title fight. He can't go in for a title fight straight away. And then we can get him either the Celtic title or the Irish title. All depends. See what way it's going to go. That's what we're pushing. Jason already is sealed in for the Celtic title for 29th of November.
Just picking this back up with Jonathan, unfortunately, Zoom still has some issues sometimes, and that obviously just cut us off mid sentence. How rude of Zoom. But John, you were sort of mentioning obviously about Jason's obviously Celtic title fight coming up down the 29th of November, just over a month away from now. Like, is it refreshing for you? I guess you obviously weren't there last week, obviously for his fight, but when you're watching that online and you're seeing that talent coming through, you're training in the gym. it's obviously
Yeah.
refreshing for you as a manager when you're seeing, your next star in light sort of coming through and dealing with an American prospect that got an easy for him.
It was easy, and I said to Jason, I studied the guy, and anything that we work with, me and Martin work together as training them, and we would say like, work on this, work on that, and all I said to Jason was, work your jab. He's small. I said like, jab him downstairs, and when you're hitting him 1-2s, I don't want you standing there. Hit him 1-2, step back or step to the side. Don't stay in front of him to be swinging the overhand right. So when you hit him a 1-2, roll because the overhand right's going to come, because that's all the kid throws in the fights that I was watching. And I took that fight because Barry signed this guy. And I says, we'll take it, because I knew Jason could beat him. Because I had Jason over here sparring with Pierre Dibombe, you know what I mean? And Pierre's super middleweight, strong as an ox. And not that Jason was able to handle Pierre. It was a great spar, but it was a good spar. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they are at different levels in the game, because Pierre's got like 20 odd fights. Jason's only got 3. Well, he was 3 pro fights at the time. Now he's 5 now. And just we went through everything over the phone. Jason was on the phone to me every day, and I was just getting into his head, because that's what you need to do. You need to get into the fighters' heads, and that what I was telling him, and I was leaving voice messages so he listens to the voice message, telling him exactly what I want him to do and how to go out and how to win the fight and what way to perform. And he done every single thing I told him. And he walked away and he goes, "You are correct." And I said, "That's it." And it's not just saying that I'm correct. When you work together as a team and you plan something and you work it right and it comes out great, then it's correct and everyone's happy. Do you know what I mean? And the main thing is there was a lot of pressure on Jason going in there fighting an undefeated American, no one knowing nothing about him. Do you know what I mean? And he went in and he got best fight of the night for me.
Yeah.
We beat the guy in every round and he controlled the whole fight,
There's probably the only thing more in obviously the showboating at stage is obviously looking out of the ring and sort of hands down where
Yeah,
you sort of
I seen that. Yeah, I seen that. But look, he knew he had the fight. He was enjoying what he was doing, and I said that to him. He's going to come in the first couple of rounds. Just break him down with that jab, break him down, drop him to the body with the body shots, and he was doing all that. And the guy just didn't like it, and he hurt him a couple of times. By the way, Jay rocked him a couple of times, and he earned his respect, and that's what you got to do in this game,
obviously your champs camp. Obviously, I can see in the t-shirt there.
That's
Explain
correct.
obviously. Do you bring other boxers on? It's obviously it's not side. Is it probably just for sparring? Like, is there opportunities for people to come out and
Yeah,
try with
I
some
get
sort of
a lot of people are on my Instagram. They send me messages, and when they're over, I'm in training camp. So I used to train a lot. I'd be in the gym non-stop, and I was training boxers, MMA fighters, and just teaching them boxing. And I was getting people on holidays, and there was professional boxers came, a lot of them from England, Scotland, Wales. I've big top names come over to me, and I've always helped them out and trained them. But you know what? There's only so much you can do. What am I doing training other people's fighters? And I end up stopping it. I just said, you know what? Like, I'm teaching these guys something. And a lot of them said to me, like, I'm with this guy this long, and, you're similar to me, coach, but you do more. And, your boxing skills is really at a high standard, do you know? And a lot of fighters that said, I'm not going to give names and disrespect any coaches or anything like that, or fighters, but a lot of them loved what I did. And that was it. Then Paddy Donovan come over. He trained with me for a couple of times, a few weeks camp, and he was dying. And he knew it was coming over here. You're coming to train hard. I take my fighters to deep waters. Plus, I teach it. I teach it all round boxing. I don't just teach it one way of boxing. I teach it all round, where we don't have excuses when we're getting ready to fight a southpaw, and we fight for the southpaw. And then 1 week before the show, 4 days before the show, the guy gets injured, and we get another guy in, and he's a back footer fighter. So if you teach your fighter to fight all different fights in all different ways, we're ready. And you have to be ready in this game, because you're not going to get noticed in 4 days, that you're going, oh, you're fighting a guy that's on the back foot. How do we fight a back foot fighter? We know, because we've been in the gym training. We've been doing this. So that's my way. That's my philosophy with the boxing game. Do you know what I mean? And I just love it. I just love the game. I breathe and I smell it and I love it. Boxing's just it's in my blood. See?
I was going to say, where would you the experience you have now, obviously, of being a fighter and obviously now as a coach and a manager, where would you sort of, when you think back, where do you sort of think that came from? Was it always something that was naturally with you, or was it other people you've been with and seen how they train and took wee bits from each?
Yeah, it was a privilege for me to have some amazing coaches. Um, Emma Brennan, Emma, Lee Martin, Bernie Ingle. But then I went to Brennan Ingle in Sheffield, and I was over there, like, and I was with Prince Naseem Mohammed, Johnny Nelson, Ryan Rhodes, Ishan Pickering, Junior Witter, Jonathan Taxton, all top, Pele Reid. Now, all top guys, and I ended up keeping really good close friends with Ryan Rhodes, and me and him are best mates. He was the Spice Boy, and me and him come great friends because we were similar in age, and we could always spar each other. And he was a brilliant guy, brilliant boxer, good switch hitter, and you just learned a lot. And then I left Sheffield after I was 2-0 or 2-0, yeah, and I ended up going to America. Boxed over in Gleason's boxing gym with a great coach out there called James Country. James Country was Tim Witherspoon's trainer, and he was his godfather for all his kids. Lovely guy. Great coaches in that gym, man. There's about 5 or 6 coaches. It's massive. Sab Judah was there. Junior Jones was there training at the time. Like, I met all them. And you just learn as you're going along. And then I met a guy called Paul McCullagh from Belfast. He was with Dad and Corbett, come over to fight on the same event as me. And the coach ran off and didn't pay us. Another crazy story. And Martin Summers, he ended up getting sued and lost his license. And we were over there, and we put Paul McCullagh and Eamon Corbett and Darren Corbett up in their apartment because the promoter, like, was meant to put them up in a place, but we gave them in air rooms. And we ended up coming good friends. He says, "Why don't you not come home?" He said, "and come train in me gym in Belfast." He said, "I'd love to, you're strong, you've got a lot of, you're a good guy, I'd love to train you." And that was it. Just went to Belfast, and I have to say, I learned so much with that man. And he was a lovely man. I stayed in his home. I trained out of his home. His son, young Paul, I stayed in his home as well. Now, you pay your digs, but they looked after you, and their wives always took care of you. Francie, Paul's wife, oh man, what a lady. What a lady. Lovely memories down there in Belfast, I have to say. I met a lovely family in the Corbetts. I lived with Dad and Corbett's mother, Elaine Corbett. She was a beautiful woman. Took care of me like I was one of her own. And they all took me in like family, to be honest with you. And that's boxing again. And boxing's so strong down in Belfast. The people in Belfast are so strong. They love it. It's in the blood down there as well, just as much as it is in Dublin. And I had some fantastic memories down there. And I learned an awful lot from all them different coaches that the coaches that I spoke about. And I just put it together. And my father passed away, Lord have mercy, with cancer. And I done a charity boxing event for the cancer place where they helped me father.
Yeah.
And we raised loads of money, 15,000, something like that for them. And people said, "Jesus, you trained fighters in 8 weeks and you made them look like pros. You're good at this. You're a great motivator." It was good at motivating people and getting them in their minds. Do you know what I mean? Because boxing is more in the mind than it is anything else.
Mm.
And I just ended up enjoying it. And then I said, I'm going to start training fighters. And that was it. And then I left Ireland. I come to Lanzarote, done some shows out here, charity events. I used to love giving back to charity events. Suicide, SOS, Peter House, just giving back, cancer, all these different events that I done. I raised an awful lot of money all through the years. Even Lansdowne rugby team in Lansdowne, the rugby team there. I raised money for the injured rugby players. There was something like 36 at the time, with a guy called Mickey Quinn. He was famous rugby player. And I done for them as well and trained all the rugby players. It was amazing. Great events. Done dinner events with them. And that was it. Just started training the fighters coming over to me out here. And I trained young Paul McCullagh. I call him the Irish Drago. And I gave back for what his granddad and his father done for me. I gave it back to their son and his grandson. And I trained him, had him living in my home with me as well. And I took care of him through COVID. I got him his pro debut, got him signed up, got him a great promotional contract and everything. And he won. He was 2-0. And then he fell in love with a Lanzarote girl, and he left and went home. And then he packed in boxing. But I've heard he's come back and he's going to be fighting in the amateur. So I wish him all the best. He's a great, great kid. I have a lot of respect for him. And he was like one of my own when I took him in.
When you say, obviously, you know, we've all everybody always has passings in family, and obviously with your father's passing, it's give you a blessing sort of in a way, because it got you to realize, you know, it probably led you in the path that you're in now, and you're sort of going,
Yeah.
you're not looking back, and it's something you love, and everything else they got. So, you know, that passion was always there, and it took your father's passing for you to do a charity event, for you to realize, crikey.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what it did. It got me to realise that, you know, when I retired from boxing with my shoulder injuries, that was the only reason I had to pack it in, because I had 7 fights on the trot and 7 wins, and I had to pack boxing in because I was only fighting once a year. My shoulder, I had an awful lot of problems with my shoulder. When you're big punchers get these problems, and I just had to say goodbye to it. It was hard to do, and you get lost. You get lost in your own little world. You know what I mean? People don't see that, because all you know is getting up in the morning and running them roads and doing 10, 15. I used to do 10, 15K runs. I just loved them roads. And then I was in the gym twice a day. You know, I'd have a day off, but I just lived in the gym. And when you stop doing that, it's hard to get back to normality. So I think when my father passed away, that was a major big thing, and it hurt me. He was he was close. He was a big supporter of mine with the boxing. And then when I done all that, raised the money for the cancer charity and stuff like that, and we done that, I just kept going then, and then that's how I found what I do and what I do best. And you can fall in love with boxing, then you can fall out of loving boxing. Does that make sense to you? And people that know what I'm talking about will understand this. Sometimes I hate it. It's not that I hate what I do. I hate the people in the game that are ruining it, and how the game works. You know, you're texting these people that are in the exact same game as you, and they won't reply to a text message. I find that ignorant. You know, you send someone a message, you know, hey, just trying to get me fighters a fight. He's a manager. He manages fighters. What's a reply in a message? What's gone wrong in the society today that people think they're bigger and better than you? Because that's what it's all about. Everybody's living off Instagram and living off social media. The rest of times of picking up the phone, how are you? I'm Jonathan O'Brien. I manage this fighter and train this fighter. Talk. Let's put something. If there's no interest, sorry, mate, I can't put them on it. That's it. I don't want to know nothing else. But ignore the message, ignore the phone calls. You know, the boxing game is so small, you know what I mean? You don't do that.
But everybody's help each other. Is it fair to say then,
exactly,
obviously, with your career cut short with injury, then you're getting to relive your career in a way, you know, for
through the
what you probably
boys?
haven't done through your fighters?
Yeah, 100%. You know, I'm living it through them again. And I want them winning the titles, and I want to build them and bring them to the levels that they need to be brought. And again, through Jay Bourne, he's helping me do this with the 2 Irish lads. Do you know what I mean? You know, and at the end of the day, people are saying he's only a small hall show. It doesn't care. Everybody started off in small hall shows, and then you build it and build it and build it. And Jay Bourne is doing it correct. And I mean, hat goes off to the guy, and it does. You know, people say this and say that. If you have to listen to what everyone says, do you know what? You might as well forget about it. You deal with people yourself and then judge them yourself. And he's judged me, and I've judged him now, because we worked with each other and we're happy. My word was my word, his word was his word, and we've done it. And that's the way you should do it. And anyone else that I'm going to try work with in the boxing game, I've got fighters. So all I need to do is introduce myself, make the contacts. I've been in this game a long time. People know who I am as well, and I know who they are. So, you know, talk it out, and then if we can do business, we do it. But as I say, my word is my bond for what I say for my fighters, because we got to sit down and co-command on what he's going to do and how he's going to go and what tickets he's going to sell. And that's what you do, like, do you know what I mean?
Everybody
And
has
then,
great.
then it's my job is to build my fighters until I can get them signed up with a massive, big, huge promotion company. And that's what my job is. Do you know?
I was going to say there, John, everybody's dreams and aspirations of what they want to achieve in life, and you don't know where a person's journey is going to lead to them. You know, you think it when Ryan Burnett made his, you know, his debut, and Carl Frampton made his debut, or or Anthony Kakachi made his debut, or Katie Taylor made her debut, nobody knew where they were going to go. So you're part of that history, and somebody goes, "Oh, I remember they fought in the JB Promotions card, such and such,"
Exactly.
because
Yeah.
they helped them along the way.
Oh, they needed that J1 promotion card. Do you understand? Boxing needs the J1s and all these other guys that are doing events. Do you know what I mean? They all need it. And the more people that get out there and put events on, the more fighters out of Ireland are going to get opportunities. We don't get opportunities. We get 3 to 4 if we're lucky. If we're lucky, by the way, we get 3 to 4. Now we're getting more names because bigger guys are getting out there, better names, and but they all deserve an opportunity. And that's my job, is to give Edward and Jason and Pierre the best opportunities that I didn't get. And that's my job to do that, because I know what it's like to sit there and not know when there's another fight. I'm sick of training in the gym, there's nothing there. We train harder when we know there's a fight day. Do you know? And that's my understanding. And at the end of the day, it's a lonely sport, boxing. Very, very lonely. You can get depressed. You can be in bad place from it. And people don't see that either, by the way. They don't see the other side of it. And that's where I'm here to help the boys. And it's a lot of pressure on me, because if I don't get them on shows, I'm not doing my job, am I?
Yeah, exactly. Then
You
they
know?
leave you and go somewhere else, and then you're the worst.
100%. And that's why I say nobody is loyal to you. That's what you've got to remember in this game as well. They can say this, they can say that, but nobody is loyal to you. If you're not getting them on shows, good boy, gone off, get someone else. Not many of them stay with you and stick with you. And, eventually I will get you an opportunity, because I've done it for Pierre. I've got him on Golden Boy promotions in America. Come on, Oscar De La Hoya. He never had them opportunities. I got him over in Canada before, out there in Toronto on a big event. I got him then this fight in the 3 Arena. He met Dana White. Come on. I will get them the opportunities, but sometimes they come, sometimes they don't come. It's just a look at the game. Do you know what I mean? But as well, we open the door for the fighters. They have to walk through that door, and they have to perform. I can't perform for you. I can teach you as best I can, and I can tell you as best I can what to do. But you need to do it yourself.
You can give them the key to the door, but they have to open it and walk through.
100%, brother.
But look,
100%.
I thank you for your time. Obviously, I'm just cautious. Obviously, we get so far on YouTube, and people will be using it nearly. They'll be there for so long. But I want to thank you. Obviously, first time I've had you on for a chat. Although it feels like 2 parts today, because obviously Zoom cut us off. We'll piece it together. But thanks as always for your time, and I'm sure we'll obviously catch up soon and get a good chat in
Listen,
person.
you have my number. You're a gentleman. It's a great job at what you do as well, because boxers and boxing needs the likes of you and all these other social media video things and stuff like that, because you get them out there, you give them that exposure, and you're speaking with them, making them feel like important, making them feel, and you deserve a lot of credit for what you do as well, my friend. And I have to say, thanks very much. It was a pleasure to speak to you. And we will speak again down the road when the lads pick up some titles and they win them.
Definitely. John, listen, thanks very much for your time, and enjoy the rest of your
Thanks
Thursday
very much, my
afternoon.
friend. God bless.
Take care. Thanks.
God bless,
Bye-bye.
mate. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.